What if the most important battle of World War II was not fought with guns, but with a weather forecast? Not bullets, not tanks, not even strategy, but something as ordinary as the English Channel above. Now imagine this. It's 1944. The entire Allied invasion of Nazi-occupied Europe is ready. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers are waiting. Ships stretch across the sea like a floating city. Airplanes are loaded. Commanders are ready. One order will change history. But there is a problem. A storm is coming, and nobody can agree on what the sky will do next. This is the world of Pressure 2026, a tense historical drama that turns one of the biggest moments in human history into a quiet war of minds inside a single room. At the center of it all is General Dwight D. Eisenhower, played by Brendan Fraser, a man carrying the weight of the entire invasion on his shoulders. One wrong decision, and thousands will die before even reaching the shore. But Eisenhower doesn't control the most important factor of all, the weather. And that's where everything begins. He calls in a man few people outside meteorology have ever heard of, a Scottish meteorologist named James Stagg, played by Andrew Scott. A quiet man, a precise man, a man who believes in data, not hope. But Stagg arrives with a terrifying message. The weather is turning bad. Very bad. Storms are forming across the North Atlantic. Winds are shifting. The sea will become violent. And if the invasion happens on schedule, it could turn into a massacre. But not everyone agrees, because standing against him is another man, an American meteorologist named Irving Crick. Confident, charismatic, certain. He says the opposite. Clear skies, perfect conditions, a once-in-a-lifetime window for invasion. So now Eisenhower faces an impossible question. Do you trust the man who sees danger, or the man who promises victory? And as the clock ticks toward the invasion date, one decision begins to shape the fate of history. But what happens next changes everything.
To understand the pressure in this moment, you have to understand what's at stake. This isn't just a military operation. It's Operation Overlord, the Allied invasion of Normandy, the largest seaborne invasion in history. And everything depends on timing. Tides, moonlight, visibility, wind direction. If any one of these factors is wrong, the entire invasion collapses. Inside the Allied headquarters, the atmosphere is tense. Maps cover every wall. Flags mark troop movements. Commanders argue over every detail. And in the center of it all, Eisenhower listens. Because he knows something terrifying. Everyone wants a different truth. Crick insists the weather is stable. His calculations rely on historical patterns, old data, past cycles, confidence. He believes science is predictable. But Stagg disagrees completely. He studies live atmospheric systems. He tracks storms forming far out in the Atlantic. He sees chaos where others see calm. And his conclusion is simple. A massive storm will hit on invasion day. The room splits in two. One side believes optimism, the other believes warning. And Eisenhower is trapped in the middle. But there's another voice in the room. General Bernard Montgomery. Sharp, aggressive, impatient. He pushes for action no matter what. Delay means risk. Delay means exposure. Delay means losing the element of surprise. And then we see something deeper. Eisenhower is not just a commander. He is a man drowning in responsibility. Because he remembers what failure looks like. He remembers training exercises gone wrong. He remembers soldiers lost before the real war even began. And now, he is being asked to gamble the lives of an entire invasion force. Meanwhile, Stagg is not safe either. Outside the war room, his personal life is collapsing under the same pressure. His pregnant wife is in London, a city under threat of bombing. Every decision he makes in the war room feels like it might cost him everything at home. And still the arguments continue. Storm or no storm. Go or delay. Risk or retreat. And as the deadline approaches, Eisenhower must decide. But no one is ready for what he chooses next.
The final forecast arrives, and everything changes. Stagg stands by his prediction. Storms will hit. Not small disturbances, not minor delays, but conditions severe enough to destroy landing craft and scatter the fleet. Crick refuses to back down. He insists the sky will clear, and Eisenhower must make the most dangerous decision of his life. If he delays the invasion, the Germans may discover the plan. If he proceeds, he may send thousands to their deaths. Then something unexpected happens. Eisenhower notices a small window in the data, a brief break in the weather patterns, a gap between storms. Just long enough, just risky enough, and he makes a decision that shocks everyone. He delays the invasion by 1 day, just 1 day. But that single decision feels like bending time itself, because now everything depends on whether Stagg is right. And as predicted, the storm arrives. The sea turns violent. Winds scream across the channel. Ships struggle against waves like mountains. Crick's confidence collapses. For the first time, he is forced to confront the possibility that he was wrong. And Stagg, he is not celebrated. He is not praised. He simply watches the storm he predicted unfold exactly as he feared. But even now, the hardest part has not yet arrived, because the invasion is still coming, just 1 day later, and nobody knows if the gap will hold.
June 6th, 1944. D-Day. The storm has weakened. The skies begin to clear. The fragile window has opened, and the invasion begins. Wave after wave of soldiers move towards the beaches of Normandy. From the war room, Eisenhower watches reports come in. Static-filled radios, urgent voices, fragmented updates from chaos unfolding across the coast. And suddenly, the abstract becomes real. Men are dying. Ships are under fire. The beaches are turning into a battlefield of fire and smoke. Inside headquarters, no one is in control anymore. They are only observers, witnesses to history. And Stagg, he listens silently, because he understands something no one else does. This entire moment, this entire war, turned on calculations most people would never think about. Pressure systems, wind shifts, cloud formations. The invisible forces of the sky decided the fate of the world. Eisenhower, meanwhile, carries the emotional weight of every decision. He knows, if he was wrong, history would never forgive him. But if he was right, the world might be free again. As the invasion unfolds, we see something deeper than war. We see uncertainty, we see fear, we see leadership under impossible conditions. And slowly, the truth becomes clear. Pressure is not just about D-Day. It is about the unbearable weight of decision-making when no answer is safe. When logic conflicts with instinct, when data conflicts with belief, when time runs out and history waits for no one. In the end, the storm does not just happen in the sky. It happens inside every man in that war room. And when it finally ends, we are left with a quiet realization. The fate of the world was not only decided on the battlefield, but in a room full of maps, weather charts, and human doubt. And that is the story of Pressure 2026. A film where weather becomes warfare, where science becomes strategy, and where silence carries more tension than gunfire. If this story shows us anything, it is that history is not only made by soldiers on the front lines, but also by people who make impossible decisions behind closed doors. And sometimes, the most powerful battles are the ones no one sees. If you enjoyed this deep dive and movie explanation, make sure to subscribe for more cinematic breakdowns and untold stories from history and film. Because the next story might change the way you see history forever.